Hi, I'm Christine Cook from Positive Energy Fitness and Health, and I'm going to show you just a quick, easy strength routine that you can do at home. All you need is a band, and bands come in a variety of resistances. So this is a green band, this is a medium resistance. There are bands that are easier and bands that are harder to work with. It's all about the thickness of the band. So you can shop around and find a band that works for you. I think this green one from Spry is a great one to start with. You can play around with how you hold the band to make it harder or easier. So don't get too caught up in what the resistance is, because how you use it can really make a difference in how hard or easy exercise is. So before you do any sort of strength exercise, you want to be sure all of your joints and muscles are warmed up. So just taking a moment, going head to toe, thinking about the joints, warming them on up. So I'm starting with the shoulders here, with your shoulders, and take that one arm and make a big circle back, and really think about that shoulder joint. You want to articulate the entire shoulder joint, that ball socket joint, and go to the other side in some nice big circles. Maybe you have one side that's a little less mobile than another. I know I do. That's just pretty natural. And now from here, you can take your arms and swing them forward and back, alternate which one comes on top. Again, just getting the blood flowing, especially to those joints. When we're working muscles, we want to be sure that the joints are nice and warmed up. And now we're going to take it down towards your hips. So just grab one leg underneath your leg, pulling it up as close to your torso as you can, just getting that hip warmed up here. And now you can take that and bring it behind you. Take that ankle and grab it. A little grab if you need a piece of the wall right there to just keep your balance. Go right ahead and face a wall and put your hand on up. Just warming things on up there. Good. And now holding it nice and wide and a side to side. Again, getting your hips and your knees and your ankles all warmed up. You can get your shoulder into it a little bit. That'll help warm up your upper back and your spine, giving it a little twist. And take one arm, reach it on up and pull down. Heart rate should be going a little bit, blood flowing. That's what we want. We just want to warm up your body a little bit. Let it know that it's time to do some work. And go to the other side. Reach and pull down. Good. Nice. And then come center here. A squat and reach on up. A squat and reach on up. On your toes to warm up your feet. And lastly, we'll just do your wrist and ankles. Just give them a little wake up here. If you need to do one at a time, go ahead. Is it like chewing gum and walking? So your wrist and ankles, loosen that up. Alrighty. So first up, we're going to actually start with bigger muscles and go to smaller muscles. So first up is going to be your legs and your gluteal muscles. Those are bigger muscles. They will help to warm up your body. So we're going to start with a squat. I think squat should be part of everybody's fitness and strength program, because you want to be able to get up off the floor without groaning. You want to be able to get out of your car easily. And to do that, you need really strong legs. So very important to get your squats in. It's a great exercise. So I'm going to start with the chair and show you how to work this exercise. And you can progress this to make it harder. I'm always going to show the exercise at the most accessible and then build it on up to a more challenging exercise. So take it where you'd like. I'm going to do about 8 to 10, maybe more, repetitions of each exercise. Please pause the video to do more. If you are building up to doing 2 sets of 8 or 2 sets of 10, just pause after each exercise so that you can incorporate as many as you are able to at this time. But you want to start slow. Make sure that you're not overdoing it. Not only are we working the muscle, but again, those joints, the tendons and ligaments need to catch up. So even if you feel that muscle is strong enough, just know that you really need to go about it slowly building your repetitions, slowly building your sets, so that the tendons and ligaments can catch up to the work. So here we are with our squat. Our feet are about hip distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. And you're going to raise your arms up as you sit down. That's going to help keep you in good form. belly button is in, and we sit back into that chair, give it a little sit, actually sit on down, and then lift it on up. And then sit back down and lift it on up. Sit down and lift it up. So you can continue doing them just like this. To make it more challenging, you can get rid of that actual sit, just make it a tap. So don't sit, just tap. And then to make it more challenging still, you can grab your band, stand on it, shoulders come back, make sure that chair is right there, and sit down and stand up. The band's going to add a little extra resistance. The closer your hands are to your feet, the more resistance it will provide, the more challenging it will be. So pause the video, do as many repetitions as you are doing for your squats today, and then join me when you're done. Our next exercise is a side to side. We're going to be working the outer thigh, the abductor muscles, and works into your hips as well. So you're going to stand on this. And be mindful when you stand on a band to avoid the draw forward. It's going to pull you forward. Really important to stay tall, shoulders back and down. Think about that rib cage being engaged. That's going to get your core involved. And that's some good posture and setup for your exercise. Watch that it's not pulling you forward. Shoulders back and down, core engaged. Think about doing a little zip right at your rib cage. That'll get your core ready to go. So from here, it's a side-to-side step. So stepping to one side and stepping to another. That's one. Continue on. To make it more challenging, make that step wider and bigger. Continue on. Going right and left. Right, left counting as one. You decide your repetitions. If you're just starting, just do 8 of them, and that's plenty. If you're building up to doing 10 to 15 repetitions, just stop when you're there. If you're doing more than one set, just pause the video and join me when you're done. To make it more challenging, you can hold it wide just for a little extra kick at the end here. These muscles are already tired, and now we're going to ask them to do something else. And I find a spot for my right foot and one for my left. So I've got a carpet square here, and I'm going to make my goal to keep one foot on the end of one carpet square and the other foot on the other end of that square. Holding it wide, tick-tock your legs. Just keeping it wide. Now your body's going to want to bring it in. Don't let it. Stay wide, stay wide. Just a few more. And done with that. Moving on, we're going to do some lunges. So you don't need your band for this exercise. What I would like you to do is come to the side of a chair. And we're going to do some reverse lunges. When you come back, it's less pressure on your knee than if you lunged forward. That's a fair amount of pressure on your knee, and it's a more advanced lunge. So for this, you're just going to stand nice and tall. I'll show you the easier option and then build up to more challenging options. The right foot stays forward. Your left leg goes way back, and you've got the chair for some balance. So level 1 would be just to come down and up, making sure your knee is not going past your toes. Again, if you're just getting started, do 8 repetitions just like that. Level 2, and it's a big jump to go from this, is to go from here, bring it back to standing, back to standing, back to standing. More challenging still would be to get rid of the chair and use your balance. And the hardest lunge I've got for you today is to go and add a little bit of balance challenge. Come back, strike a pose. Come back, bring that knee on up. Do your repetitions on that side, and then join me on the other side. On this side, now we have our left foot forward, our right foot's gonna come way back. And just a reminder of the different levels. Level 1, stay static. Don't bring that back foot back up. Do your repetitions right there, pressing through your heel at the front, making sure your knee is not going past your toes, and that your knee is tracked in the same direction as your toes, meaning it's not bowing in or coming out. Remember the option from here, bringing it on up, here, bringing it on up. Get rid of the chair for extra balance work, or add a knee for a balance challenge. Do your repetitions right and left, and then join me when you're ready. Moving on, we're going to do some rowing. And your row is for your back. So again, we've worked all those big muscles. Your heart rate might be up a little bit. Your body should feel a little warmer. I know mine does. Now we're going to do some rowing. So for this one, you need to sit down onto the ground. And this is the trickiest part. So you take your band, feet are about hip distance apart. Take your band, lay it on top of your shoes. Then take the handles and bring it around to the center. That, now you set up a little row machine for yourself. Super tall, shoulders back and down, abdominals engaged, and again, that little zipper right at your rib cage. That's gonna make sure everything is engaged properly. From here, you're going to come and give a squeeze back and release. Shoulder blades are coming over your spine. And there's a slight pause at the back. To make this more challenging, you can shorten the distance between your hand and your feet of the band. That's going to make it more challenging, and you can do that by either stepping wider or grabbing beyond the handles. Either of those are going to make that space a little bit more challenging, making the band a little bit tighter, and you squeeze right back. I just want to turn to the back so you can see what I mean about shoulder blades squeezing over your spine. And you do your repetitions there. As you become more comfortable with this exercise, to make it more challenging, you can take both handles into one hand and do your repetitions one at a time. So that would mean, obviously, you would do 10 to 15 over on here, and then switch and do your 10 to 15 on the other side. Do your rowing and then join me when you're done. Next up is scapular retraction. So you're going to come on up, and for this one, you just want to have your hands about 8 to 10 inches apart, at chest level, shoulders down, neck long, knees have a slight bend. That slight bend is going to make sure that you don't arch your back. It's hard to arch your back with your knees bent. So that slight bend will help keep your low back nice and safe. Hands at chest level, at a fist, and you squeeze again, those shoulder blades back. It's tiny, it's small, it doesn't look like you're doing much, but it should feel like you're doing something. This is a great exercise to do right at your desk. You could do this while you're on a call, put that phone on speaker, and do some scapular retractions. Really important for good posture. You can't keep good posture all day if these muscles are weak. As you get going into this and it gets a little bit easier, you can do some isometric holds, meaning you just hold that back. You can do some tiny pulses there. Just play around with the intensity of that band. Do your repetitions of your scapular retractions and then join me when you're done. Next up is wall push-ups, or just push-ups in general. I'm not a huge fan of push-ups on your knees. It gets rid of a lot of the core work that makes a push-up so special and so important to do. I would rather see people do push-ups on a wall or on a countertop or on a couch or on a chair than to do them on their knees on the floor. So let me show you the wall push-ups. You want to have your hands right at your shoulders and then just push them forward. So from here, right onto the wall. You want to make sure you've got pressure on every knuckle, every finger. Make sure it's nice and wide like starfish. From there, you're going to lower yourself on down and come on up. The position that you need to get your body in is at a nice angle, and you do that by stepping away from the wall and coming on to your toes. Let me show you what it looks like. Core is engaged, you've got that zip right at your rib cage, and you do your push-ups there. Again, from there to progress, do them on a countertop, then to a couch perhaps, then to a chair. You want to build this up very slowly. The shoulder is a very delicate joint. It has a lot of mobility, which makes it very vulnerable. So you want to be sure that you're slowly working up to your push-ups. Wall push-ups are a great way to do it. Just make sure you're up on your toes really high and then get that nice angle. Do your push-ups and then join me when you're done. Moving on, we're going to continue working your chest. So your push-ups work your chest and your back. This next exercise is going to work your chest as well. So you're going to grab your band, bringing it right underneath your shoulder blades, and you're going to come around and imagine, if you will, that you're hugging a tree. So imagine a tree in front of you, hug a tree and release, hug a tree and release, right around and release. Now, it's hard to see, but my elbows don't increase or decrease the whole time. They have a slight bend, and they stay that way the whole time. The motion is at your chest. If you can imagine folding yourself in half, that's the motion I want you to have. Thinking about hugging that tree will help keep your elbows where they need to be. Chest work right there. Finish your repetitions and join me when you're ready. Next exercise, we're moving on to a little bit smaller of a muscle. So we've done your legs, your back, your chest. Now we're working on to shoulders. Shoulders, we're going to do an upright row, stepping on your band, cross your handles. You want to make sure it's even right and left. You don't want one side really loose and one side really tight because you'll be lopsided. We don't want that. Again, very tempting to let the band round you forward. So think about shoulders back and down, that zip at your rib cage, slight bend at your knees will protect your low back. From here, your fingers, your knuckles are going to graze your body and come right on up and lower down. Right on up and lower down. If you feel like that's already too challenging, and it can be, just go to 1 foot and try that. It'll make it a little bit more accessible. To make it more challenging, you want to step a little wider in your feet. That's going to shorten the band. Again, it's all about the length of this band. So you can make, it can be, this green band can be for a beginner or someone more advanced, all depending on how you line it up. Shorten it up to make it more challenging, lengthen it to make it more accessible. So you do your upright rows. If you're just beginning, a set of 8 is great. If you're getting more advanced and things are getting a little bit easier, do your set of 8, take a little rest, then do another set, building up to 8. 2 sets sounds great to me. Moving on whenever you're ready. Next exercise. We're going to do side lateral raises, still working on your shoulder. So for this one, I'd like for you to come And hold on to the band on one side and let it be nice and loose on the other side. You're just going to come on up and release. Take a look. On up to the side and release. Working on your shoulder. Do your repetitions on this side. And then when you're ready, switch and go to the other side. Making sure you have similar work on the other side, setting yourself on up and down with control. Do your repetitions right and left, and then join me when you're ready. Our next exercise is going to be for your biceps. So you're going to stand on your band. To make it a little bit easier, you can stand on with just one foot. And your elbows are close to your body, shoulder is close to your body, and you just lift and lower your lower arm. Elbow to shoulder glued right beside your body. You've got that knitting going on at your rib cage. Pull your belly button in to engage your core. Slight bend in your knee to protect your back. To make it more challenging, step on it with both feet. To make it more challenging still, step even wider, and that will be more challenging. To give yourself some variety, stick with this one for a little while, but then to give yourself some variety, you can change the angle of how you're working your bicep. So once you've done these ones, try doing these ones. You have your elbow to your side, and just come up. It's more of a W that you're making with your arms, lifting and lowering with control. Make sure you don't just let it come down. Make sure that's a lower down. Again, standing on it with one foot will make it a little bit easier. And then the last way I like to show people to use the band for biceps is to have it center, so your palms facing in, and you can come up and down just like so. This is more of a hammer curl. So you choose the angle you'd like to do your biceps with today, do your repetitions and however many sets you're doing, and then join me for triceps when you're done. The next exercise is for your triceps. You're going to hold the band right underneath the handle with one hand. Let's have your right hand hold that. And your left hand is going to be at the base of your spine. From here, your right elbow is high, and you're going to extend and release. Now, I've got a lot of band between my two hands. That's making it pretty easy. Watch how I adjust it to make it more challenging. Again, bend your knees to protect your back. This one is easy to arch with. Really extend and release. When you've done your sets and repetitions on one arm, go to the other arm. What I suggest when you're done with one arm is to let go at the handle, but hold on to the other side. Replace your hand, swap it, and now you know you have the same effort on one side, on the next side. You don't want to be one side stronger than the other. Extend and release. Remember the way down, you want to make sure you have control. Don't let it just come down. Make sure it's controlled. Do your repetitions right and left. And then if you want, do another set, right and left, and then join me when you're done. The next exercise we're going to go into, so we've done bigger muscles, we've worked into smaller muscles, triceps are a fairly small set of muscles, and we're just going to end with your core. You've used your core to do just about every exercise we've done so far, just by engaging it, but now I really want to just focus in on that core. So our first exercise for that is to stand on your band. And for this one, chances are you're going to need to grab beyond the handles to really feel this exercise. So grab beyond those handles and standing on up. Again, watching that the band's not pulling you. Shoulders back and down, knees are soft, and you have your belly button pulled in and your rib cage knit. From here, a side to side, side to side. To make it more challenging, grab down lower. Again, shortening the space between your hand and your feet. That's going to make it more challenging. You can also widen your feet, and that will make it more challenging. Right and left counting as one. Go through, do your repetitions, maybe take a break, and then do another set if that's what you've built up to. Join me when you're done with your side-to-side reach, working your obliques and your abdominals. Everything's engaged. Belly button in, pelvic floor lifted. You've got that zip at your rib cage. Great job. So just to reiterate the importance of engaging here, I could do this exercise without things engaged. I could do that all day long. But if I pull my belly button in, I zip up that rib cage, and I think about engaging my core, pulling that belly button in and lifting up pelvic floor. Now, there's no way I could do this all day. So just be sure everything is engaged when you go to do that exercise. Next up, side chop. For this one, the setup is really important because I don't want it to fling on you. So let's start with the band underneath your left foot. The handle is over on the side. My handle's on the left side of my left foot. Then take the rest of the band, put it over your shoe and then under your shoe, right at the arch of your foot. So what we're doing is just ensuring that this band isn't going to fling out. So let me set that up one more time just to make sure you've got that. You want to step on your band right near the handle, take the rest of the band on top and underneath, and then just make sure that's all right about at your arch of your foot. Now from here, step on out with your other foot and holding onto the handle with both hands, engage your core, belly button pulled in, pelvic floor lifted. You've got that zip at your rib cage. From here, follow your gaze down and then up and down and up. You're going to feel this in your shoulders and back as well, but really think about how your core has to turn you and twist you. Put your mind where your muscle is, and that will help you make the most of the exercise. To make it more challenging, you know what to do. Shorten up the space by making there be a little bit more band to the left of your left foot and less band on the inside. So now when I go to do this exercise, it's much more challenging because I've shortened up that band. Do your repetitions on this side, pause the video, do those repetitions, and then join me for the other side. The other side will set up together. Take that band to the outside of your right foot. Take the top of the band, the long part of the band, bringing it over your right foot and under your right foot. Holding it right there. Step out nice and wide. Holding the band with two hands, engage your core, belly button in, pelvic floor lifted. Got your little zipper going on here. Holding it here, lifting it on up. Down and lift. And I really feel like the gaze, holding your gaze to your hands, helps you get that full rotation and engage your core and your obliques. Finish up your chops on this side and then join me when you're done. Last exercise. We're going to do a bicycle, and I'm going to show you how to progress the bicycle. First way to do it is to be up against the wall And you're going to take your left knee and bring it towards your right shoulder. Hands are just touching your head. I'm not yanking on my head at all or my neck. It's nice and tall here. Take that left knee, bringing it towards your right shoulder, and come down and switch. And switch. And switch. Right, left, counting as one. To make it more challenging, come away from the wall. Now you're responsible for your balance. Right and left. Continue that way, or come down onto the ground to bicycle. Hands are behind your head. You're going to take your knee towards your shoulder, keeping that leg close to the ground. Make sure it doesn't, you're not going too fast. You want to go slower than you think you should. The closer your leg is to the ground, the more challenging it is. If you have it up higher, it'll be a little bit easier. You know you've gone too far if you feel that low back pull up off of your mat or your towel. Make sure that low back stays pressed. If I'm coming and I'm bringing my legs closer to the ground, I feel that low back popping up. I've gone too far. Make it a little bit higher. Do your bicycles, maybe 2 sets of 10 to 15, and then you are done with your strength routine. Always you want to stretch after you've done some strength work. A quick stretch is better than nothing. A full body stretch, of course, would be preferred. You can join me to do that in another video, but at least be sure that you're stretching out all the major muscle groups that you've worked. So you worked your legs, make sure they get a stretch. You worked your back, make sure that gets a stretch. Your chest gets a stretch. Your shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, and your obliques. You'd want to hold those stretches longer, but you get the idea. Just do a scan through, what did I work, what do I need to undo? And that's what you need to do after your strength. Now, a word about strength training. You want to be sure that you are giving your body time to recover. So I think this is kind of cool that you don't get stronger while you're doing your strength work. So that bicep work we did, we made tiny little microscopic tears in that muscle, and it takes about 48 hours for that muscle to fully recover. In that 48 hours, it rebuilds itself, which is why strength training is really great for your metabolism, because it takes a lot of calories to rebuild muscle. Once that muscle is rebuilt, then it is stronger. So it's not getting stronger while you're working out, it's getting stronger those next 48 hours. It's getting stronger when you're sitting on your couch that night. So that's kind of the great thing about strength training, is that it takes a lot of calories to recuperate, and that's where the metabolism boost comes from. Muscle also requires more calories to just exist during the day. So the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism will be. But be certain to give yourself that 48 hours recovery, eating well, some good quality protein, some good fruits and vegetables, complex carbohydrates, to let that muscle fully repair and get the most out of your strength training. Excellent job.